I guess I must have dozed off. I had that dream again. The bastards. They're hounding me. Jim, where are we now?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Heyo, it's me, Matthew Van Zant.
John Puffy Brandon.
Puff, puff.
Oh boy.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about our favorite classic RPGs. Kind of like a book club, but it's a podcast. And we don't read books, we play video games.
Yeah, I don't read any books ever.
Never.
We have all never read a book.
I saw one once, but I didn't open it.
It had words in it.
What are we doing this? Oh, we started playing Grandia.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
We did do that.
Yeah.
I played it like way too far.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm the only one that's played this game prior to us doing this episode, this season. Is that correct?
I guess that makes me a little baby fresh-eyed.
Oh, no. Listen.
I'm a little baby fresh-eyed, too. Oh, you're
Jim,
like my big sister.
Jim,
I'd
I'd like to bring a point to order before the council.
Big?
I would like to request a moratorium
What's this
on Little Baby
town
Fresh
called?
Eyes' impressions.
I
I need a
don't
break.
follow no council rule. I
Cannot
only
do this.
follow my
Matt, you're a little baby
mama's
fresh
rule.
eyes too. You can
I
do
don't
it too.
care.
I'm
No,
joining
I will
us.
pluck my baby
One
fresh eyes
of
out of my
us.
face
Now I
to
gotta
spring
find
this
a
Come on,
podcast.
man, do
to
it.
meet Java.
I'm doing it. Fuck it.
Us.
Oh, it hurts. Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's no mini map, so this town is confusing.
Okay? Do you guys feel good? Can we get it all out? Can we please?
Yeah.
We've beaten
Yeah.
this one to death. But I was listening to the episode as I edited today going, oh, God. We're going to lose listeners 2 of these in a row.
So before we get into talking about how much we all loved Grandia and how the navigation is not confusing at all, let's talk about how we leveled up. Matt, in the notes, your level up says farts. Why don't you expand on that?
I had something that I did want to fart about with you guys, and that is, I wanted to talk a little bit, instead of a regular, level up, I thought maybe we could level up about our history or previous knowledge or whatever of this game. What do you think?
Wow. Well, that wouldn't be much of a level up for me because it's the very first time I heard of it.
Yeah, Matthew, I feel like you're just encouraging our baby fresh eyes right here.
Oh boy, you know what? You're right. Let's skip this whole thing. No, I've really not even heard of this game.
No, me neither.
Really? John, you're the RPG historian. Like, what?
I've heard of it. I definitely know it exists. The second one's on Dreamcast, I think.
That's
Yeah, actually,
snap.
this game was originally released on the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, I think maybe I do remember. I think I do remember seeing the Dreamcast game somewhere. If that's real, that sounds.
Yeah,
familiar.
it took a couple years for the game to hit the PlayStation, but I remember people being very excited that it was getting released on the PlayStation and in English.
Yep.
And it was right around the same time that Final Fantasy VIII came out. So everybody was abuzz about Final Fantasy VIII, which is like super dour. And then this game came out and people generally enjoyed the lightness of it compared to Final Fantasy VIII.
Right.
Do you think that this game inspired Final Fantasy IX's tone?
Ooh.
It is kind of similar.
It is. It does remind me quite a bit of Final Fantasy IX. I still want to do a regular level up, though. Can I do a regular level up?
Yeah.
Yeah, John, how did you regular level up?
I leveled up by seeing what is called, in internet colloquialism, an aqua pupper. Or a sea doggo.
Oh!
I was just hanging out. I went to there's a park near, it's about a 20-minute drive from my house, and called Admiralty Point. and I went out on the docks there, and there's just like a seal hanging out waiting for people to throw crabs back in, because you cannot take the female crabs, you can only take the male crabs. And so I guess when people throw the crabs back in, the seal is like, hey, free lunch. And it was so cute. It was just sitting out there. It's got like these giant eyelashes, and it's the cutest.
How close did you get to it?
Oh, it's probably like 6 feet away.
Oh, dang.
It was like super used to people. Like it was just waiting for fishermen to throw crabs back into the water.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanessa, how did you level up?
Oh, well, I recently upgraded my phone to a new, shiny, current generation iPhone 8.
Oh, wow. Does it have like 8 times the memory of your last phone?
8 times the memory. Well, I was on a 5 before, so I'm not caught up, but I'm closer. And in celebration of my new phone, I have downloaded some iOS games, and I chose one called Reigns, Her Majesty, and I like it very much. It is a game where you are not just a queen, but a series of queens, because you keep being reborn over and over again.
Oh, my.
So you die many, many times, upwards of, 100, 200 times, depending on how you play the game.
Oh.
And the format of it is very simple. It's just a swipe left or swipe right kind of thing.
Like Tinder?
Like Tinder.
Okay.
But your goal is to sort of keep these 4 different categories in balance. Because if you go too high in, say, popularity, the peasantry might trample you to death with their adoration, trying to throw roses and whatnot at you.
Mm-hmm. Just like Tinder.
But if you go too low in, say, religion, you'll be burned at the stake as a witch.
Just like Tinder.
Just like Tinder. So it's a cute game. It's written by a woman who is kind of into nerd culture, and it's very much written for women who are in nerd culture. So there are a lot of little references and jokes that are kind of like in and winking at the community. And I like it. It's good. It's like $2.99. You might as well play it. What else are you going to do with your life? There's also a male version, Reigns, His Majesty or something. I haven't played it.
Who'd want to play that?
Yeah, I know.
I
Gross,
played that.
right?
It was good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Jim, how did you level up?
I watched a documentary called Icarus.
Ooh.
Was it about flying too close to the sun?
No. It's got a misleading title, I guess. It's about this guy sets out to make a documentary about doping and cycling, like Lance Armstrong.
Because they're flying like Icarus.
Yeah. And he like with the help of medical professionals, like goes on like a doping regimen, and one of the guys he gets help from is like a lab sponsor for the Russian Olympics. He's like the director of their lab, and right at the same time he's filming his documentary, this guy is getting investigated for essentially like creating the program that lets Russia cheat the Olympics every year. So he like decides to become a whistleblower and has to escape Russia and is in the United States, and it's a really good documentary.
That's
it's like,
crazy.
Yeah, and I believe it won the Academy Award a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie, and it's on Netflix. Everybody should watch it. Matthew, do you have any non-farting levels up?
Boy, not really.
Did you do anything for St. Patrick's Day?
Nope. I mean, I did. I went over to a friend's house, but it had nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. No, I'm good. So, why don't we move into, the real thing, the real deal.
The quest log?
The quest log?
The quest log.
The quest log?
Log?
The quest log.
The quest log. The quest log.
Wait. There's one more thing we have to do.
What?
I'd like to know how you guys are playing this here Grandia game.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm playing it on my Vita.
I'm playing it on John's Vita.
Ooh. I'm playing it on PS3 that I purchased to play games for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I also am playing it.
Excellent. Moving on.
Let's see. So the game opens on... There's kind of a cinematic that seems to be like just cuts of stuff that happens later in the game, which is my least favorite way to open anything, with cuts of stuff that's going to happen.
Okay.
It takes away some of the coolness when that stuff actually happens. But once we get through that, we open on like a...
But it's like full anime video, right?
Yeah, there's like some CG stuff and there's some animated stuff. It's a little, just a little bit of both.
I like the animated stuff. It's very kind of sweet storybook style.
Yeah. But we open on a sleeping man in a chair who's which is what Vanessa opened with in her previously on. But he's complaining about bad dreams, and then he talks to his son, and apparently they're going to excavate something called the Salt Ruins, and they're right above Parm, which is a city, I guess.
And a delicious chicky sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And a delicious cheese.
Yeah.
Chicky parm.
It's a little too dry of a cheese for me.
Yeah, but it's good like in Alfredo.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have it just on its own. You shred it and put it on top of something else, like another more different cheese.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's true.
Or like if you go to East Side Mario's and they're like, would you like some Parmesan on this? And then they're like, oh, tell me when. And you don't tell them when, and they just keep grating. And you're like, yeah.
It's so good. Never say when. Never say when. Oh, man. I have some Parmesan in the refrigerator right now, and I really want to go get some as a podcast snack.
What would you eat it
I
with?
thought you said you weren't supposed to eat it by itself.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, it's just like, it's shredded, but in those like wide, large shreds, like a peel or something, a little curl of Parmesan. I could just put it on my tongue and it would melt away.
Could you make
Hold
a little
up, I'll be right
bruschetta or
back.
something? Okay.
Sweet!
What the fuck are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the town of Parm. So
Oh, yeah.
it opens with
That's
someone
why I'm
waking
so
up.
hungry. What the fuck?
But it doesn't open up with the protagonist waking up, which is unusual for a JRPG.
Yeah. Are we supposed to sympathize with this guy? What's going on?
No, he seems like a bad guy. He's having kind of bad guy-y dialogue.
And he has a robot eye.
Yeah, and he's like sitting on a Harkonnen throne.
Yeah.
I don't trust him. And there's like a lady... Lean, she's there. What's the son named? Colonel Mullen?
Mullen, yeah.
Yeah, there's Colonel Mullen, who's his son. There's Lean, who's like a girl with a sort of Luc Besson style haircut. Like she's
His
got
aide de camp. Mullen's aide de camp.
And she seems like she could turn good. She doesn't seem totally bad.
Aide to camping at the bit, Jim? Or
Yes.
aide to champing at the bit?
Oh, that's funny.
At first, I thought she was a robot.
Because of her line delivery? Oh, I am an anime girl.
It's really hard to glean how you're supposed to feel about these characters from their line readings because they're all uniformly terrible.
I
The
wouldn't
voice acting is not
say
good.
that. I've definitely encountered some that wasn't so bad.
Some of it's okay, but most of it's really flat.
I actually am going to agree with Jim's first statement, which is that none of it is any good.
It sounds like someone called in on their like old tinny cell phone to record the lines.
Especially Mullen. Mullen's, his stuff sounds really bad.
And Mullen's delivery is very wooden and dry. Sort of like Alan Rickman if Alan Rickman were bored.
R.I.P. Alan Rickman.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty bored now.
Oh,
Jim is a
jeez.
bored, that is.
Oh.
Oh, jeez. Vanessa, come on.
He's bored to death.
Oh, let's move on. So they open up the window to go look at Parm on their spaceship or like floating airship or whatever it is. And the window's open and there's, I really like the sweeping camera shots in this game, but it's rendered in PS1 graphics. So it's like,
Yeah, so it's really awkward.
it's cool. It's definitely, it's a bit like Metal Gear without the technical skill of Metal Gear. Like they did the same kind of things in Metal Gear, but they managed to make it look a bit more epic than Grandia does, but it tries really hard for PS1 graphics, and there's so much detail and movement and really cute animation that I was really impressed. But yeah, this opening shot is not impressive. It's windows opening to kind of as a scroll, like a mode 7 texture that's coming at you of the town. Just a flat scaling texture. And cut to your main character getting punched in the face and kicked out of a shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to find treasure, he says.
Mm-hmm.
In this guy's shed, and the guy just kind of tells him to fuck off a little bit, stay out of his shed.
And punches him in the face.
Beats him up.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, beats him up.
acceptable.
Yeah.
Which
he's a
I
little
thought
child.
this was really shocking. And when I found out that he's like, what, 10? Do we want to say 8 maybe?
I think
No
like
way.
12.
I think he's
Like
15.
17.
Oh, is he that old?
I'm pretty sure he's 15.
He doesn't
He's
act
si-
like
he's
he's
15 or
15.
16.
No, he's always like playing with his friends and whatnot. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like
What were
playing
you
pretend.
doing?
I wasn't
You were
playing pretend
15.
at 16.
I was going to coffee shops. Duh.
I still play pretend today.
Justin is 14 years old.
Oh, he's
Oh,
a really
okay.
young 14.
Yeah. He's so he's got, let's just talk about his outfit for a second, because we like to rag on Square and Nomura in particular on his terrible outfit designs, but I think this guy, and his name is Justin.
What an
His-
amazing fantasy name.
I know.
Justin's hat is maybe the worst piece of clothing I've ever seen in a JRPG.
What are you talking about? It looks like a slime from Dragon Quest.
It looks like a train conductor hat with goggles on it.
And earmuffs.
Yeah.
What you know those Cosby kids?
Those
Wasn't there-
damn Cosby kids.
Wasn't there a Cosby kid with a hat like that?
No, are you talking about the Junkyard Gang? Like Fat Albert's Junkyard
Yeah, the
Gang?
Fat Albert and the Cosby kids.
With the hat that came down over his face.
No, not that one. There's another one who had a big hat like that. Like a Paul Prudhomme kind of hat.
That's
like the
not
Dom
helpful.
DeLuise hat.
Still not helpful.
Kids hat. I'm gonna go look up what his name is while you guys talk.
Well, anyway, it's a
I
big
mean, now we're
puffy blue
invested
hat.
in this hat, John.
Well, I'm gonna find out what the other names of the people in the Junkyard Gang are.
No. The
There's
podcast
Fat
needs to be
Albert.
put on
Hold on,
hold.
I found it. It's Fat Albert, Dumb Donald,
Dumb
Mushmouth,
Donald.
Bill Russell, Weird Harold, Rudy, and Bucky. And you know Bucky who Bucky is because he has buck teeth.
He's the Winter Soldier.
But the rest of his outfit, aside from his hat, is also stupid.
That hat.
He's kind of dressed like a Pokemon catcher.
He's
he
wearing
has,
like a jumper.
yeah,
like a
he has
romper.
a romper.
Yeah.
All right, but I will say this for all that, his anime profile picture that they use when he talks, like him, all of them actually look pretty good.
They do,
the actual
and I like-
art, it's
I like
not
how
a bad.
their
He's not a
expressions
badly
change.
designed character. He's expressive too. They've got a lot of little,
Yeah, he's expressive. He is voiced. Does anyone want to take a stab at that?
I mean,
His voice.
Like it's sort of an anime
yeah,
kind of
he's
voice.
like, yeah, don't tell me I've got the soul of an adventurer. Okay, so I pulled up a picture of Justin just to kind of give it another look, and I agree that John is wrong that it looks anything like that hat.
I'm glad we've sorted that out.
I also agree that that is not any sort of hat that a real human being has ever worn.
I think. What about Paul Prudhomme hat?
So we're 1 minute into the plot of this game.
Okay, fine. We'll talk about that later.
This hat is very important.
This hat basically is the Deus Ex Machina of the entire game.
It turns out
Even the
hat,
fan art just cannot figure it out.
So Justin is a child, and he gets beaten by a man for trespassing in his shed.
He is
Yeah.
a 15-year-old ragamuffin who is trying to rob a man and is beaten up because of
He
it.
is technically stealing from this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's going through his junk.
Oh. You know what I'm getting from, I'm sorry. You know what I'm getting from looking around through some of the fan art is that maybe we've got two separate things here, goggles and hat.
Yeah, they're two separate things.
Yeah, he definitely has goggles.
The hat kind of looks like a little baker's hat, like a short one, kind of a poofy blue guy, but blue.
Yeah. I don't like it. It's almost a beret, but it's like an inflated beret.
Yeah. And then he's got goggles on top of that because he wants to be extra shitty looking.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
So you get kicked out of there. He's looking for the 4 treasures, I guess. Is that right? Or is it 7 treasures?
No, there's 4. Sue, who you meet, actually, she runs up to Justin right now and says that she has found the first one, which is the legendary armor, which is, I think like the door to a stove or something like that.
No,
it's
apron.
a dirty old apron.
Oh, dirty old apron. That's stupid.
Yeah. And, they're looking for a sword and a shield and a helmet. That's the other items they need.
And they need to give this stuff to Gantz, who's like the neighborhood bully.
Yeah. Part
I
of
don't know why.
A family of Gantz, Tents, and Gaunts is the brothers. And, Sue, who you meet, she has what looks like a big ribbon on her head. But turns out to maybe be the most terrifying little animal sidekick I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's sort of a moth.
I'm still not really sure what this thing looks like.
Well, it looks like it has a boil as its nose.
It doesn't
What
have
is
a
it
boil.
called?
It just kind of
Puff?
has a pink nose.
Puffy.
Yeah.
Puff puff.
And it says puff puff. It's like a Groot.
Yeah. Instead of talking, it just says puff puff. Puff puff.
It looks like it looks like a little butterfly thing.
Yeah, that's what I think it looks like too.
I just get creeped out by its weird boil nose. It just looks like, ugh, yuck. Oh, yucky.
Boil nose. Boil nose.
So she's got this thing that lives on her head.
She is 6.
She's 6?
She is a child.
Okay. So he's playing with, he does seem to be a little old to be hanging out with kids like this.
Right?
A little.
And we, if you go and talk to the other kids he's playing with, you learn that he is on this treasure hunt, at the behest of another child. And, if Justin loses the treasure hunt, the other child is going to marry Sue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird.
She's a literal prize to be won.
Sue is a baby.
Yes.
She is a little child.
How old is she supposed to be?
6.
The Wikipedia says 8.
Oh, 8.
Even though she's 8
That's
years old,
still a
it doesn't
kid.
stop this guy saying that she's a beautiful girl and he wants to draw her.
Oh, people come on to Sue all the time.
Which is horrifying.
I am very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another person in town who's like, "Oh, Sue, you're going to be quite the beauty when you grow up." And she's like, "I already am." Whereas really women hear that, we don't like it. Don't tell little children that they're going to be sexy when they grow up. It's creepy and gross.
What if you're Maurice Chevalier?
Extra don't do it.
Even with the French accent? Like, say Kevin, for little girls get bigger every day.
Yikes. So we have to go find all this crap in the town, which it involves, this is one of those games where you can rotate the camera around so you can alter the perspective and view everything 3-dimensionally. It only, I guess in this town specifically and in dungeons too, it just serves to confuse me.
Can you think of a location other than the steamship where it isn't confusing to try and navigate?
It's a good point.
And you know why the steamship isn't confusing? Because you can't control the camera.
Yes. Yeah. It's fixed perspective.
And it's a smaller environment. The environments are quite large.
Yes.
There is a dungeon, actually, it's the first dungeon that we'll cover in the next episode, the Ghost Ship, where you cannot see anything in the levels. Because the rooms are so small and there's 2 levels to them and everything is in the way of everything else.
And I guess maybe for performance, because, this is a PS1 and it's a fairly detailed environment, I feel like they zoom in the camera so much that it's way too zoomed in. Like, you basically see the maybe 8 feet around you, and that is terrible. But like I was saying before, when you wander around this town and you're looking for these this treasure, like, everything's interactive. Like, you can bump into bottles and they roll around. You can, like, there's coat hangers that you can sort of swing, and there's everything has a cute little animation associated with it that is delightful.
I liked it.
It's really gorgeous.
Matthew, you have a different opinion on the graphics and general presentation of this game.
I mean, you're not wrong. There's a lot of cute little touches and animations and stuff that look great. It's just, like, impossibly ugly as well. I
don't know. I think it combines, like, that charming PS1 polys, like the really simple polygon and texture, with really cute, very well done sprite art. Like, the animation is gorgeous. Like, the first time you get into combat and use the healing ability that Sue has, there's, like, this 30-second scene of her doing cheerleading that is just really beautiful sprite animation that looks like something out of a well-done indie game today.
That's one of the cutest little animations
to.
I've ever seen in my life.
It is so fun.
Her rah-rah cheer.
Yeah.
But I do think that if it were all sort of hand-drawn, like Legend of Mana, it would be a little bit cuter.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have the awesome 3D camera, which I think the most confusing part about it is when you go into a building and then exit it, and the camera's pointed a different way than it was when you entered the building. So it's just kind of hard to orient yourself.
And also, when you leave town, it doesn't tell you. So, like, you're trying to wander around these train tracks, you go under them, and it just suddenly goes to like a 20-second loading, well, not even a loading screen, 20-second black screen.
Right. The loading times are very slow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one thing I don't like is it doesn't cache the menu. Normally in RPGs, when you hit, like, triangle to go to your menu, it's just instant, but in this game it's the same loading screen or loading black as loading anything else, and it's like, oh no, I dread picking stuff up.
That's so weird because there's almost nothing to the menu.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of, like, sub menus and lots of things to select and move around. It's a pretty basic menu presentation, which is weird that they make you sit and wait for it.
Yeah. That's definitely just a structural problem with how this game was programmed, that it loads up. Normally they, like, keep it in memory so that it just is instant, but in this one it's nope.
Weird.
Yep.
So we get all the stuff. We have to make our way around town. I think the helmet's a pot lid.
Yeah.
The helmet is a pot.
Yeah.
They think the shield's a pot lid.
What was the first thing you find? Because I found the one along the river. That one I found pretty fast. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the shield is in the port.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah, I did find that.
Yes, and the sword is in Gantz's house. It's locked up in his trunk.
And it doesn't give you a prompt. To get the sword, you have to go back and talk to Gantz because he'll brag about how you'll never find it.
Right.
And so I spent about 45 minutes looking for that freaking sword. If you'd like to see that, go to the Square Roots YouTube page where you can watch me suffer through all that. Like, this is a bad way to open an RPG because
it is. And I guess
boring.
Like I was reading on, I think in a FAQ, it said that the manual that comes with the game tells you exactly where these items are.
Oh, okay. Really? That's not so bad.
Yeah. So I guess if you took the time to read the manual that came with, the actual game, you would just know where that stuff is.
Well, I think there is, even on PS3 and Vita, if you hit the button, like the center PlayStation button, you can go to, like, user manual. It does come with the PDF of
interesting.
I'll
have to check that out.
So one problem, I like to talk to every villager in a game, and each villager in this game has, like, 3 things to say, and each one updates, like, every time you do something. So there's like books worth of townsperson dialogue, and I was just going nuts trying to talk to everybody every time. Mm-hmm. It's too much dialogue.
I do like that they all seem to know you. It's like you get a sense of being from this town and you have a relationship with all of the people around, and the other kids are playing hide and seek without you. So it's like people have their own little lives. It's cool.
friend of the podcast, Nick DeBar, Nick Rocks, was saying that he regrets that we have to play it with this terrible translation, but I don't think it's that. It's definitely better than, I guess coming from Phantasy Star 4, it doesn't seem that bad. Like, it seems at least the colloquial way it's written is fine. It's a little clunky, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's if you actually press the select button when you're in a town, it will show you like the map of the area that you're in and put little green dots on the map for people you can talk to.
Oh.
So it puts all it lets you know the location of all the NPCs in like a city.
Yeah, but it only works in towns.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been nice. And there's a whole dungeon mechanic about that, so I guess that's why
Yeah, that's a really dumb mechanic as well.
All right, so you get these treasures, and you see that there's a cafe you can't go into that has like a lady, an erotically posed lady on the sign.
Yeah, where you can see like side butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a little advertisement that says in the cafe they have beautiful women and delicious coffee. Mm-hmm. And Justin comments that must be truth in advertising. And Sue says, although the owner is beautiful, they are too young to have drunk coffee, so they don't know if it's delicious.
That seems like a weird translation thing.
Yeah, I think it's coffee with quotation marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly meant to be a bar.
Yes. With Super Nintendo games, Nintendo would not allow you to do alcohol, like, to have it until, like, the Mortal Kombat era. So you had to, like, talk about milk and stuff until the ESRB came in. But in this one, this is well past that, and it's on a PlayStation where they don't mind, but maybe they were trying to go for an E for everyone rating, so they couldn't have alcohol references. That's my guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Remember how that prostitute in the cafe tried to fuck that little 14-year-old boy? Because that happened for sure. 100%.
It does happen. All right, so we find all the treasures. We see Gantz getting into trouble for blocking the bridge. So we sneak past him, and then we run away from the adults because we're a precocious little teen. And then we run home and meet our mom, who is a physically abusive restaurant owner,
Ex-pirate.
Yeah, and an ex-pirate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she runs the Seagull restaurant, and it's obvious she's real sick of Justin's shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's always getting into trouble.
So have you ever been hit in the face with a frying pan?
I haven't.
That seems like it would hurt.
She takes like a tray and beats him over the head with it.
Oh, is it a tray? Okay.
It's a tray.
So that doesn't have the weight of a frying pan.
No, but it's still, it probably still hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, she beats him with a tray, and because he's, I don't know, dirty? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's getting dirty footprints in her kitchen.
Yeah.
Makes her feel real
And I'm sure
big.
she's very, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I imagine she's afraid of the health inspector coming by and seeing muddy child footprints on the kitchen floor. That wouldn't do.
I don't think Parm has much in the way of child services, though.
Are they?
No, it doesn't seem to.
Are we steampunking in this game? Is this a steampunk
Sorta.
environment?
Yeah, it's like a fantasy steampunky
We're
melange.
steampunking.
Wait,
Yeah.
hang on. Steampunk involves some sort of infinite steam producing mechanism. So is that what this is? Do they have like steam airships?
Does it?
Or is this
I
just
thought
like
it was just
steam
like
trains?
if they didn't invent transistors and like steam era technology got more and more advanced.
That's what I thought too. But this town is a coal mining town.
It's true.
And they talk about steam a lot.
Yep, there's a
Did
whole...
you go to the inventor's
Well,
house?
yeah, you gotta.
And the curator guy. He talked. They mentioned steam, like infinite steam engines. Mm-hmm. But that might be
And the
them talking
inventor-
about mythical stuff.
This
Why
seems
does-
more like a historical fantasy.
Why do they want you to go to the inventor's house? I know they name drop him.
I don't know why, because there's really nothing to do there except see his steam inventions.
Where do you get...
And they're not great.
do you get the spirit stone from him? Didn't you lend it? Oh no, you lended
No.
that to the curator.
No, that's the curator at the
Yeah.
museum.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I didn't get anything from the inventor, but I saw he invented a
Hair dryer.
hair dryer that the heat is just way too high, and also it blows some soot into women's hair.
Yep.
He invented a food chopping machine, but the power was too great and it chopped up the cutting board as well as the food.
It's also about 40 feet long.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't remember his last invention. Do you, John?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, I have it. It's a clock.
Oh, right.
He invented a steam-powered clock, and the only flaw is that you have to constantly shovel coal in it to make it work.
There's a steam clock in Vancouver, a very famous one.
Is that in Gastown or whatever?
Yes.
Oh,
Great job.
thanks.
I wouldn't want to go to Gastown, if you know what I mean. Hey!
We always hear about you
I'm
going
pretty
to
sure you're
Gastown.
the mayor of Gastown.
All right. So we have I like the dinner mechanic. They actually have dinners are kind of a thing in this game.
Yeah, it reminds me of campfire stuff from where has there been a campfire mechanic?
I don't know. This is pretty
It's like
new
in
to
Tomb
me.
Raider, where you have to sit around the campfire and do stuff, but you're just talking to the other people around the table.
Isn't that a Dark Souls
I
thing?
was very confused at first.
Yeah, me too. I
Persona
was
did
like-
that too with the meeting rooms or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So you get this icon over your head, and then you can basically it took me a couple of minutes to figure it out. You select the other people at the dinner table to advance the conversation. So you keep going between your mom and Sue and talking about different stuff. And she talks about how she was a pirate and how there's an inventor you should go see and that the curator has something for you.
She also mentioned that Sue's parents are dead.
Yeah, everyone brings that up a lot.
Yeah.
To the point where it seems a little rude.
Yeah, so Sue's parents died when she was a baby, and she lives with her aunt and uncle.
Yep. But she spends the whole day with Lily and Justin, and
she eats
Lily
at their
cooks.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is she related to Lily and Justin?
They're not related. I don't know. Justin just looks after her, I guess.
Yeah, she calls Lily Aunt Lily. I think Lily was friends with her parents before they were tragically gunned down in an alley, I assume. I don't know. Do we know how they died?
They had some sort of Pokemon monsters attached to their heads, and they eventually burrowed and just ate their way through.
Ugh, that's horrifying.
We're told that the next day we have to go to the museum to speak to the curator to get our stone back. When you wake up the next day, you can rummage through Justin's bedroom.
Yep.
And get a first aid kit and some money, and there might be one other thing in there. I don't remember.
There's a thing from the New World. There's a statue that they brought back from the New World, which seems
he
kind
has
of
an Icarian statue.
Mayan or Aztec-y. And you can also look at everything in the living room too, all the pictures of the family. So you find out that basically all the grandfathers and stuff were adventurers. Just like Justin
say the
wants
word
to be.
adventurer 9,000 times in this game.
It's one of those video game professions where it's just
Yeah, I'm gonna be an adventurer. Yeah.
My dad was an adventurer. You want to be an adventurer?
Let's go to the adventuring guild.
business.
You can meet all the adventurers there.
Do you think they're just cartographers, but they wanted a cooler name for it?
I don't know. I can't really be that grouchy about it because my favorite game series of all time, Quest for Glory, has adventurer guilds and is kind of the same. It's very similar.
Let's see. So we go to the curator's office. Well, we go to the museum to speak to the curator, and he shows us this cool new statue he's put together.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
what
I liked
adventuring
it.
is colonialism, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're
really,
Indiana
this is all.
Jonesin all around.
So kind of, this is all horrible.
A little bit. But yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna go kill the savages over in the Dark Kingdom.
Isn't Indiana Jones just him stealing relics from invaded countries?
Yeah.
That's true. He's preserving them.
Right. Of course.
By putting
'cause
them in a
they
crate
wouldn't know
in
what
a-
to do with them.
Right.
Now, much better than they put in a crate in a giant warehouse that nobody will ever see again.
Well, that
Yes.
warehouse is run by top men,
Yeah.
so it's all going to be safe.
Top man.
Did top mid always mean what it means today, or is it just really has changed a lot in the last 50 years?
I think it's changed a lot in
think so?
the past. Well, at least maybe in the queer sub-community, it's always kind of meant what it means. But
Wait, no, that's not what I meant.
Oh, what do you think it meant?
He just waved his hand. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, let's move on. So
I liked the design of these statues and whatnot.
Yeah.
They sort of look like a mishmash of every kind of culture you might see in a museum where they have colonized artifacts. Very Aztec, a little bit Egyptian, some Easter Island influence, definitely.
yeah, you see some like Wadjet eyes, those Egyptian eye things. And yeah, but it also has like very Central American, ancient civilization stuff for sure. And I think the art design in this game is generally really good. And I like the cool statue that you start messing around. Why are you messing around with the statue again?
Well, the curator goes to his office and he's looking for your stone and he says, while I'm looking, why don't you go check the statue out? So you have to go interact with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you I think you knock on it and the wing on the side falls off and the head falls off.
And you try to put it back together all
yeah,
wrong.
But you put it together all wrong and you just kind of hope that he doesn't notice.
Now, is this a stone statue? That would be pretty impressive feat for a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old to put back together.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I don't know.
It could be plaster or something. Or a pottery, I bet it's like a pottery thing.
I mean, when it falls off, it sounds like it's stone.
Oh. Well, then I
yeah,
have
it
no
does
idea.
make a thud.
Yeah. So in this is a case of a game trying to be funny and actually being kind of funny. I enjoyed
It's not bad.
Yeah. It's like, fun times.
So we go talk to the curator. The curator gives us the stone back. It was in his front pocket the whole time. What an idiot.
I told him that I broke the statue, and he just went, ho, 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 ho. That's a funny joke.
Yeah, I
Breaking
told him
the
that too.
statue I worked so hard on.
Hard on.
Oh.
What?
So we get the spirit stone. He also gives us a pass to get into the Salt Ruins
Ooh.
so that we can go explore.
Ooh.
And so that's the next thing we have to do. There is another little dinner scene. In between that, I don't know that anything interesting gets presented there. I think maybe you talked to your mom about breaking the statue.
I also went on to the road you can go onto and fought some enemies just to sort of see what combat was like.
How do you feel about the
Oh.
combat? How does everybody feel about the combat?
It took me
Tight.
a while to understand it.
Yeah. It's got one of those active time gauges.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the type of thing that you can get by just tapping the X button every 10 seconds or so and not even look at the screen.
Well, no. Not for bosses. It gets harder. Because, basically there's two kinds of attacks you can do. There's the combo, which does more damage and attacks all the targets around. It basically attacks at least twice. And if it kills the first enemy, it attacks the next enemy near it, which is really cool. Then there is the critical attack, which it'll only hit once, but it knocks you back on the ATB. So and it cancels anything they have prepared. So say they're going to use a healing spell or some big attack. If you use the critical, it cancels that big attack. And you can tell,
Yeah.
which is
so
really cool.
And you can tell when the enemies are preparing to cast a spell or do a special move because they start to sparkle.
Yeah.
So if you can squeeze a critical hit in while they're doing that, then it'll cancel their spell.
Now that is pretty cool.
And
Yeah, at one point I hit my timing where there was just kind of one big boss left, and I could just do critical with both of my characters over and over again, and he wasn't able to act at all.
yeah, you just keep
So-
pushing him so far back on the ATB. That's what, if you attack the bird boss, the first boss of the game, that is a good way of dealing with him. So yeah, I was just trying it. I didn't understand the combat at that point, but it was gorgeous. The animation is super smooth and well done. But it does zoom in and out a lot, which does look, it's like zooming in on big sprites. So they get giant blocky look to them.
There is one thing I do like about the combat is that it encourages you to switch weapons or weapon types pretty often, because you level up skills with each weapon type. So Justin can level up his mace skill or sword skill, and as you level up multiple types, like if you get to level 10 in your mace and level 7 in your sword, you'll unlock new skills. So you'll get like AoE attacks and stuff like that. If you level up like the mace and the axe in tandem, it'll open up more special move options.
Okay, so I should ditch the sword for a while and try something else.
Level
more.
up like the club or the axe or something like that, and you'll unlock some special moves.
And and I noticed when you start getting magic spells, if you keep using them all the time, you get more magic spells way faster.
Yeah, and actually, if you level up like your magic along with your other weapon skills, you'll learn like magic attacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Skyrim and Oblivion in how you level up stuff by doing it, which I love.
Yes,
that's one of my
That's
favorite.
kind of Final Fantasy 2, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I went back home. I had another dinner. Talked more about her being a pirate. And she was like a feared pirate. I think she's murdered. Your mom has killed lots of people, innocent people, and was a robber. Like, she was like a bad person.
She was plundering stuff, man.
Yep.
But she seems like a sweet lady now. I mean, except for the physical abuse.
Yeah, except for being abusive to her child.
But she does tell the nice story of how she met Justin's father by boarding his ship in the dead of night and trying to take his booty.
Oh, I bet
and she did.
Apparently, did you say that he like stood up to her and right then and there she denounced her piratehood?
All it takes is a man putting her in her place.
That's right. You'll see there's a pretty disturbing plot element that comes up later on in the game in the new continent.
None of us have got there yet.
I know. It's not. This game is not super kind to women.
Oh, there is something that comes up real soon about that. In fact, I think it's the very next plot point.
When we get to the ruins?
No, when you get to the actually after this, the cafe. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay, so let's get on to the next day, and we have to take. Is it the Merrill Road, or is that the next?
Marna.
Is that the one of the?
It's the Marna Road.
Marna Road. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to take the Marna Road, which is, I guess, like our first dungeon.
Yeah. Well, you get there and then you go to and the Marna Road's just random encounters, except they're on the map. It's a bit like Chrono Trigger or Dragon Quest. You can dodge them, which is useful. Yeah.
And you can like get the upper hand, and you can get the initiative is what they call it. If you sneak up on an enemy and they don't see you.
Sort of the Persona way of handling
that.
Yeah.
Or if you attack, if there's like two enemies in a row, if you attack the one in the back, you'll sometimes get an initiative.
Which is useful for sure. It pushes them all the way back in the ATB. And if they sneak up on you, they go first, and it's bad.
Yeah.
They can do a lot of damage. They start piling, because they're like, you sort of combo together with someone else, and they can pile up on you. And so you just walk to the mine and show your pass, and the mine is full of soldiers from, what's the empire called? Garlisle? Yeah. And, you get to meet some lady soldiers too.
Yeah, you meet 3 squad leaders who seem indescribably cruel to their soldiers. Their names are Saki, Nana, and Mio. Mm-hmm. And, at one, they're talking amongst each other about how their soldiers were late. One of them says if her soldiers were late, she would make them do 3,000 squats. The next lady says if her soldiers were late, she would make them go without rations for 100 days.
Jesus.
And then the next one says something about just straight up killing her soldiers, I think.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I was kind of on board with the squads, but I'm not sure about this murder.
Yeah, they need to take some management classes.
Squad must have like killer butts. If they're doing 3,000 squats, they must have rock hard butts.
Oh, yeah. You could just bounce quarters off of them.
And I would. I'd go to the bank and get me some rolls.
So the army is here in the Salt Ruins, and they're excavating to find, I guess, like Icarian technology. Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're after.
It doesn't really
Something.
say, but they're really interested in getting in and figuring out how all of this, like, machinery works.
Mm-hmm.
But Justin is told he can't go in. Saki, Nana, and Mio tell him to stay out, but he goes in anyway.
Yeah. Of course.
And when we get into the ruins, we hear a speech by Mullen, who says, I think he says this is their third time trying to excavate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can't get in, they can't make it work, and this is like their last attempt.
I see.
And so, yeah, we do some exploring. This is the first this is the first real dungeon of the game. And that like you really get to interact with the environment here.
Yep.
So like you'll find some like flooring move. I think there's like a piece of the wall or a bridge you can break down.
Mm-hmm. To get extra
pillar
treasures.
you can knock down. Yeah, some treasures you can find.
I liked this.
Yeah.
And I like that you can see the enemies, so you can sort of try to position yourself in an ambush situation if you sneak up behind them.
I didn't like, once again, the 8-foot radius camera. So that they're these arrows you can walk onto that will show you 16 feet around you as an amazing gift. Like you're supposed to be so happy that you can see slightly more of the environment.
The compass on the screen, on the top right of the screen, is useful. And
What
that
does
if
it
you're
mean?
if you're in a dungeon, the little arrow in the middle will point to the dungeon exit. So if you're on the first screen of the dungeon, it'll point to the second screen.
Oh.
So it'll always point to where you need to go, and you'll find that it'll spin faster the closer you get to your objective.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah. So if you get super lost, you can look at the compass and just follow the arrow, follow where it's pointing.
On your way out.
No, to like go deeper into the dungeon.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
So it'll tell you where to go.
Okay.
I have some questions about these spots that you can stand in and the camera goes straight up and shows you more around you. What is the in-game explanation for that? Is Justin's soul leaving his body to fly like a bird above the ground?
Yeah, he's having an out-of-body experience, and he just gets to see everything around him for a second.
God. Everything about this is just, I mean, we're all doing the same thing, right? It's just walking around bumping into fucking walls, hoping that there'll be some way to out. Please take me forward.
Use the compass, guys.
I don't understand. It's just so fucking muddy. I can't see anything in this game.
It is difficult, yeah. I got lost for a while in these ruins because I couldn't find a way onto the platform to get to the treasure, and I really wanted the treasure. I think I saw an axe. And so, like, you have to find, in order to find out where the stairs are to get up onto the platform, you not only had to find one of those blue things to stand in, you had to find the right one to show you where the stairs were. It took me a long time. It was pretty frustrating. I've played this game 3 or 4 times, and it still pisses me off.
Yeah, it's a mess. All right. Hey, guys, I'm actually going to log off because I feel very nauseous. And
Oh, no.
I don't want to be on this call anymore. But I love you guys. I will see you next time.
Good night, Matthew.
Bye.
Bye, Matthew.
Matthew's got sour tummy.
Oh. That's no good.
I thought he was being extra quiet.
Yeah.
Maybe his farts level up was truer than we know.
Aw, poor guy.
So we make our way through this dungeon, and eventually we get to a door that the soldiers are having trouble opening. There's this big head statue in front of it, and we walk up.
That's no way to get ahead.
Oh, that's it. We're all gonna log off now. But Justin's spirit stone reacts to it, and the head splits into 2, and we get to go further into this little temple.
This is a point that I liked very much, the art of the head, and I liked the art when it splits open. There's like mural on the inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
looks
it's like the
cool.
skull of the head.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. And so we go into this temple, and our stone keeps reacting to the wall mechanisms and the door mechanisms to let us keep going further and further into the temple. And eventually we get to the center, and there's like a lady that talks to us.
Yeah, and before we get there, I just want to say Phantasy Star 4 could really learn from this on how to make a dungeon fun. Like, just by the enemy encounter rate isn't too bad. Like, you maybe encounter 20 enemies throughout the whole thing. And you can avoid them if you want to, but obviously I want to level up. And, exploring was fun. There's like neat ways of getting more treasure. And it's not just about wandering. It's about like knocking stuff down and stuff. And I really like that.
For the low encounter rate, the game does seem kind of grindy in that, like, in one dungeon, on one dungeon screen, there might be 20 enemies. And fighting all 20 of the enemies might get you a third of the way to your next level.
Yeah, that was one thing I did notice, that it took, especially like Sue, it took me 2 dungeons to level Sue one level, I think.
Yeah.
But I've never felt under-leveled.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and like, you know, the whole being able to cancel enemy attacks and stuff, makes it manageable. Like, especially if you find yourself getting worn down by some of the enemies.
Yeah.
There's tactical ways to, I guess, get the upper hand back, which is nice. So like I said, we get through the temple and we meet a lady who's, I guess, like a projection that's in the temple. Her name is Liette.
Is it I couldn't figure out how to pronounce it. I know she says it once, but I couldn't remember.
It's Liette.
Liette.
Yeah. And she is an Icarian.
Okay. Is that someone from the New World? What does that mean?
That's somebody from the Angelo civilization.
Now, it's written Angelou, like Maya Angelou.
It is, but they pronounce it Angelo, right?
Yes. You are correct.
So from what I understand, that there used to be like Icarians and humans living in the same world, but they had separate cultures.
Does she look any different than a human?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah. So I don't know.
No, she's just fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just a fancy lady. But I guess like the Icarian civilization progressed a lot quicker than the human civilization, to the point where I guess they evolved beyond like having physical bodies.
Oh.
And so nobody really knows what happened to them, which is why everybody's trying to get after all of their super advanced technology, which is now in ruins and scattered all over the world.
Okay. Now, this cutscene we saw at the beginning of the game, the anime part of the weird future city where people had wings, that was them, right?
That was them, yeah.
Okay.
And they lived in harmony with the spirits.
Oh.
And they had cool technology like flying like cylinders. And then they just went away. We're told that if we want to learn more, we need to cross the sea to the New World and find a city called Alent.
And she talks a lot about how the stone is a symbol of the promise between humans and spirits.
Yes.
But she does not say what the promise is.
Right.
What do you think the promise is, Vanessa?
I think the promise is the spirits will slaughter all men once they're released by the chosen young boy who carries the spirit stone.
I think that the promise was to like live in balance with the universe or something, and harmony, and like the bad guys are going to find all their technology and try to use it for bad, and then the spirits are going to get mad and want to kill everybody.
I feel like the spirits have already kind of retreated from the world, maybe because of all the coal mining.
Okay. Do you think this is going to be a nature allegory? Like an environmental?
It could be. Or it could be an allegory for the dangers of investing in clean energy and why we have to bring back those coal jobs to West Virginia.
Wow. I didn't think the game was that conservative.
Well, you never know.
We'll see, I guess, right? So we're told we have to go to Alent, so Justin resolves to find a way to the New World and go on his very first big adventure and figure out what happened to the Icarians.
Why?
Because his dad something to do with his dad, right? His dad
He
was
wants
an
to be
adventurer.
an adventurer like his dad.
Didn't his dad disappear while doing Icarian stuff?
Oh, is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. He hasn't mentioned anything about what happened to his dad, has he? He just says his dad's dead.
Yeah, I think his...
Or gone or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. But his dad was into the whole Angelo Icarian stuff. So he's super into it. And now, since his dad left him the Spirit Stone that enables him to get into these ruins, he's ready to learn more.
Oh. Mm-hmm. At his local library?
Yes. But on their way out, they run into Mullen, who seems like he's gonna kill these kids.
Yep.
Yeah, he seems kind of into the idea of killing them, and then his aide-de-camp talks him down a little bit, and she's like, how about we don't kill children? And he's like, well, I guess we could just take them prisoner. But he also interrogates him.
He straight up threatens to kill Sue.
Yeah.
And then he says they're going to take them as informants and then tell Sue she's never going to see her family ever again.
Yeah. And again, she is 8.
And they're standing on this like central so it's like a cylinder shaped room, and they are standing on this rotating platform like a propeller. It's a very you've seen this before in Final Fantasy IX, which I guess came later. So Final Fantasy IX stole this exact kind of construct
where you have to move the clock, right?
I just remember that there's one point where you're navigating a dungeon like this.
There's one of the games
or something.
One of it, maybe it's 7 or 9 has a thing where you have to move clock hands around.
Oh.
I think it's 7 actually, now that I think about it.
Okay.
But you have to move clock hands around in a similar way to this.
Yeah, it's a very JRPG kind of thing. I feel like Half-Life as well had a room like this where you had to go to different areas.
Mm-hmm. But we strand him on one of the platforms because we move the room around.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's stranded against the wall and has no way across, and we just run back through the dungeon. And on the way out, like Mullen mentions, there's a trap, like you won't be able to get through the trap that he set for you. And the trap is a giant stone bird that he leaves at the entrance to the ruin, which is weird.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing to do.
No. And he has lots of soldiers, but you haven't killed any humans yet, so... No.
Yet? Oh, no.
I haven't killed any yet in the game. I don't even know if he... Maybe you don't.
Maybe I don't
he never
remember,
gets
to be
the
honest.
blood of a man on his hands.
No.
This child does not become a murderer.
Can you imagine Sue's reaction to murdering a man?
Justin, you killed him.
Puff, puff, and blood's just dripping off of Puff Puff's face.
Puff, puff, like this. Puff, puff, eat the dead.
Puffy eats their eyeballs out.
Puffy feasts on their faces while they're still living.
Although Puffy is a weapon, though. Like, Sue has a move called Puffy Kick where she winds up Puffy, which seems dangerous to the animal, but winds him up and throws him, and Puffy, I guess, kicks the animal.
Must do it. Yeah.
Yep. It hits him somehow.
Yeah.
What is Puffy? It's like a moth, right?
Yeah.
It flies. It has a pointy moth face.
I think you read in the manual that Puffy actually used to be Justin's, and Justin's dad found it on one of his adventures, and Justin bestowed it to Sue.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess nobody knows what it is.
They do say that Puffy came from the New World.
Yeah, nobody knows what Puffy is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll get some tragic Puffy backstory when we meet Puffy's dead family or something.
Undoubtedly.
So we beat the Rockbird. We get another little scene with Mullen where he's awkwardly laughing. I mean, I say awkwardly because the voice acting is bad, but he's laughing at how interesting his interaction with Justin was.
He is delighted by these feisty children that he was going to kill.
Now, he does say, I don't know if it's this cutscene or the next one, he does say he wants to recruit them so they can be soldiers to make his life more interesting.
Yeah, he said, can you imagine having a soldier like that in our ranks? We would never be bored, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit too into this kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Not as much as that guy outside the house, though, the one who wants to paint Sue.
No, yeah.
So we go back to the town. We can leave the ruins now. Like we say, Justin is now resolved to cross the ocean, but he needs a steamer pass to get onto the steamboat.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we learn that there's a guy who hangs out at the cafe. His name is Java. He has a reportedly very disgusting steamer pass that we have to get from him. But before we can get into the cafe, we run into the owner, and she lost the key to her own business.
Now, here the owner seems to be like a middle-aged lady.
This was confusing to me.
It uses the middle-aged lady sprite at this point.
It does. It uses the stereotypical mom sprite.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the townsperson sprite.
Yeah.
On my way to the cafe, I stopped in at the rival restaurant in town. Justin's mom runs a restaurant, and there's another one, which is not as good. And talked to one of the patrons there, and he said, "Have I heard of Java? Of course, but I prefer mocha." Which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, you have to figure out your way into the cafe, and eventually you talk to the lady, and she says she'll let you in if you find the key. And the key she thinks that a guy who comes there had the key, but he was out hanging out by the pier.
I think this guy, she says he's out at the pier watching the seagulls.
Right. He's a short order cook. At the pier mentions how he works as a cook. So you can go out there. There's some stuff you can do at the pier too. Like you can gaze out on the sea with it just like tilts the camera a bit.
Yeah.
It does not look very cool.
The hardest part about this little cafe mission is finding the cafe. Because you get so turned around in the town that it took me 15 minutes to find out where this cafe was after I got the key again.
I could never find the ball museum, but I could find the cafe no problem because it's like fenced in and there's signs
it took me a long
pointing
time
at
to
it.
find the fence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hanging out where tents was the first time you find tents, and
you have to crawl on your hands and knees.
Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot about that. You do chase a boy around to grab a key earlier in this game. It's Gentz's little brother.
Yeah, the key to Gantz's trunk.
Oh, you also meet the older brother at that salt mine. He was there working. He's a soldier.
He's very friendly.
Yeah, he's super nice.
I didn't run into that guy.
Yeah, Gauntz. Gauntz is the good one.
So we get into the cafe. The cafe seems pretty seedy, which makes me think that it was not supposed to be a cafe.
It's a bar.
Yeah.
Because there's a patron outside who drank too much coffee, and he just tells you boring stories that go nowhere because he's drunk and almost passed out. And there's like people say like, "Whoa, this coffee's really hitting me."
Yeah.
And
this
so
coffee.
Some of the girls around town work there at night as waitresses, and these girls are your age or younger. It's just not super great.
It's weird, and everybody in the cafe is gross. And this is the confusing part, is the woman who runs the cafe that you are led to believe is a middle-aged lady is working behind the bar here, but she's like a young hot lady now.
And if you talk to her about it, she's like, "Oh yeah, well, makeup does magic, basically." And so she's wearing a lot of makeup when she looks young, as the young sprite.
Oh. But Java, who has the steamer pass, is not here.
No.
But
Nope.
if you talk to the owner, she says that Java left his wallet and asks you to return it to his house, which is near the Lek mines.
Oh, the Lek mines, huh?
The Lek mines.
Lek mines. And you can't just walk to the Lek mines. You have to wait to the next day and catch a train to the Lek mines.
It also took me a long time to find where the train station was. I ran all over the map to find the train station the next day.
It's right. It's basically when you walk into the town from outside, it's right there to your left. And there's a kid there who's looking for a hat pin she lost, and her mom's going to kill her if she doesn't find it. You can find the hat pin. It's right outside the museum.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought she was going to kill her mom if she didn't find the hat pin.
No, I think it was the other way around.
I really liked when you are looking for the key. I don't think it happens with the pin, but for the key, your characters get on their hands and knees and crawl around on the ground.
Yes.
Which I thought was a really cute little animation.
I thought that was the key to get the helmet, I think. Wasn't it?
That's right.
Yes. Yep.
But for this one, there's no crawling required. You just kind of walk around, and do you have to hit X to find
you gotta
on the ground?
Tap the X button a bunch, I think. That's what I was doing anyways. Maybe you don't.
Yeah, so you have to like be in the right place.
That's how I found it. And, so you go off, you catch a train, your buddy will let you ride for free because he's friends with Justin.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, he's a young conductor or something. And they don't get many passengers anyways because the mines are all out of coal, basically.
And he doesn't question why this child would be going by himself to the mines. It seems fine. Or maybe Justin does mention he's taking the wallet back.
Yeah. And you know, it's a more permissive era where kids could go off and do their own thing or work at a bar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get home after going to the bar, your mom's real mad.
She is not into it. She hits you with that tray again.
And she's
She
like,
does.
I know you want to go on that steamer and, but you know, and you can't go to the mines because you're not old enough to go to the mines, but you're going to go anyways to the mines. So, yeah. And so you do. And you get really lost because you can only see 8 feet around you and there's no, I guess, is that compass pointing towards Java? Is that how you do it?
It does, actually.
Okay. So I just
if you're
got to link
not,
to that.
it doesn't. It's not helpful if you're not in a town. I mean, if you are in a town, because it just kind of spins about aimlessly. But if you're anywhere else, it will point to your objective.
Oh, well, that's useful.
Yeah. So you get to the Lek mines, you find Java's house, and he's not there. But you leave his wallet on the table, and then you leave, and he runs in and confronts you. He's a crazy old man in like a suit of armor with like a lance.
Yeah. He looks like illustrations from Through the Looking Glass of the White Knight, if you're familiar with that character, which of course you are. You've read your classic children's literature.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah, he's real skinny. He's stuck in this armor, and he carries his lance around everywhere, I guess, because he's a great adventurer.
Yeah. He's got lots of old man tales about his former adventuring and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He's an interesting looking character if you see him drawn.
He reminds me of kind of like a Miyazaki crazy old person sort of thing.
Yes, he does.
I really like the portraits in this game. They're very cute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And he's gonna kill you.
yeah,
yeah.
he's going to kill you.
Once again,
But-
these children are in mortal danger.
They are all the time.
Yep.
So you tell him that you're there for his steamer pass. He says that, and that you're an adventurer, which, if you're counting at home, you've, probably gone insane, because this is the 30,000th time they said the word adventurer. So he says that he's an adventurer, Java's an old adventurer. Java says that before he can give you his steamer pass, he has to test you to see if you really have the heart of an adventurer. So he tells you that you have to enter the mines and kill the boss monster at the rear of the mines because he's tired of hearing them moan all the time.
So these are sentient beings now. These aren't just monsters.
Well, they have a government because the boss at the back of the mines is the king of the orcs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I liked this dungeon quite a bit. It was big and fun to explore with like little secret nooks and crannies.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun and got some new weapons and stuff. And you fight some orcs and you can see their butts.
You can see their
Oh.
butts. That's weird, huh?
Yep. I don't know if they're wearing like just Speedos or something. I wasn't sure.
I don't know. It's strange. I do like exploring the dungeons and finding, because they do leave some pretty good weapon drops.
Mhm.
and stuff in the dungeon, and there's some items and lots of gold you can pick up if you explore. So definitely do that. And one thing I liked about this dungeon in particular is where the boss is at the back. There's a ton of money just laying around because I guess they're hoarding it, and they let you steal it before confronting them, which is nice of them.
Yeah, they just watch you walk around picking up their treasure, and they're like, yeah.
One thing I will say, it does seem a running thing in these games. Before you get to the boss, make sure you've picked up all the treasure because you can't go back.
Right.
Every dungeon I've done so far, you cannot go back to and loot later. So
the only ones I know of are the roads.
Okay.
You can do the roads again.
Yeah.
But so you defeat the Orc King and 2 other orcs as part of this battle. After you kill them, the mine, of course.
This was a tough fight for me.
It was, I guess, well, why was it tough?
I just thought they were fairly, like, they would pick on Sue. I'd given Sue a melee weapon for a while. She had range one, but the melee one does give her, she doesn't have as many hit points as Justin. So what I would do was I was throwing grenades at them because I got a bunch of grenades in the dungeon, which was okay. But then I decided I was better off picking them off one by one with combos. Or what? No, Justin using combos on one of them and Sue delaying the attack of the king because he had like some bigger attacks.
Yeah, it was, it's always interesting because a lot of the enemy encounters are different, especially the boss encounters, to kind of figure out what your rhythm needs to be.
Yeah.
In terms of like when to attack the boss and how they're going to attack. I think it makes the battles a lot more interesting.
It's very strategic. This whole game reminds me a lot of the Trails in the Sky series.
I've heard people describe it like that.
Yeah, it looks incredibly similar. Like Trails in the Sky takes the exact aesthetic out of this game, and the way combat works is very similar too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sue is. I'm actually consistently surprised at how powerful Sue's attacks are. Like they're not far behind Justin's in terms of damage that she can deal.
Right.
Especially as you level up her weapon skills. And her little animation of her rah-rah when you heal is super cute.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets out, her and Puffy get out pom-poms and cheer until everyone gains their health back.
Yeah. This was the boss where I hit the cycle. I killed the 2 henchmen orcs first, and then with the king... timing it worked out where if I had Justin do a critical and then Sue do a critical, they would cut off his attack every single time. So he did no damage at all to me.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I do like that there's sort of a risk and reward thing. Like you can find shoes that up their movement so they can move across the map faster, but then they have less defense. But I think it's more useful to get somewhere fast. They have less time to attack.
They're real slow otherwise.
Yeah.
And that comes into play a lot later where some of the more powerful weapons that you'll find will increase your attack more than others, but they will reduce your movement because I guess they're heavier weapons.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things why this game is a little bit grindy, especially when it comes to leveling up the weapon abilities, because you might want to like lean away from weapons that limit your movement a little bit, but you really should spend equal time with all the weapon types if you want to unlock all the special abilities.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth keeping that in mind because I think there's a mace that that comes up in the next episode that limits your movement quite a bit, but it's worth it to get it and at least try using it for a while.
Okay. I'll have to try that.
But so when we defeat the Orc King, the mine, of course, begins to collapse because we're in a mine in a video game.
Yep.
And we are, I guess, about to die.
Oh, this is the weirdest part of the game, too.
Yeah, when Java comes up and like throws you in a mining cart, and you have to just watch this mining cart just wander around these tracks for like it seems like an hour and a half.
I kept thinking, am I supposed to be steering it or something?
Nope.
Because this is way too long for a cutscene.
Yep.
But no.
I kept expecting it to turn into like that Super Mario RPG minigame where you have to move it around the tracks, but nope, you're just watching it cruise.
And they definitely put a lot of effort into this roller coaster you're basically on. And like, it does a whole bunch of dramatic angles where you see like, basically you go on this ridiculous maze of rails. And sometimes it cuts to like a first person view as you're going up and down. It's like, you're supposed to be very impressed, but this is, this is 1997. And like, Quake 2 came out at this point. You're looking at PlayStation 1 graphics. I know this game, I think, originally came out in Japan in like 96. So this is not top of the line graphics. It was kind of neat. I was definitely, I enjoyed the little demonstration of cool early mid 90s 3D technology here.
This bit of the game probably took 6 months to write and program. It's time well spent. So, eventually, I guess we crash the mining cart because it cuts to the cart like wedged into the ground. But all our characters are okay.
Yep.
Java tells us that we failed because I guess one of the first rules to being an adventurer is don't go in without having a way out.
Oh.
And he says he's very disappointed. But he decides to give you the steamer pass anyway, and the steamer pass is just as disgusting as it was, as you were led to believe, because he says that it's covered in his blood, sweat, tears, and lots of other stuff.
Other fluids.
See, I just assumed that he kind of like kept it in his underpants.
Blood, sweat, tears, poop, pee, semen.
Yep. So
Gross.
he just kept it in his underpants.
Here, kids, take this document I've been keeping under my balls.
No.
I thought he's going to join your party. He just seemed like a fun party member.
He does, yeah. I'm surprised there haven't been more party members up to this point.
Yeah.
Especially like all of these like when I was doing research on this game, there are a lot of illustrations of the cast of characters just together. Yep. Like they drew all of them together for like a poster, and this character is featured pretty prominently. So I always expect him to play a bigger role, and he's just kind of in and out.
So he does say something as you're about to leave after he gives you the pass that, hey, being an adventurer is a lonely man's game. You know, there's things about being an adventurer that a woman shouldn't know. Things that a woman couldn't know.
He's a real misogynist.
Things that a woman wouldn't know.
He tells you adventurers walk alone on the boulevard of broken dreams.
Adventurers are loners, Dottie. They're a rebel.
So Justin takes this to heart, and when you get back to Parm, he breaks little Sue's heart and tells her that she can't go with him on his adventure.
I felt so sad here.
So did I, because Sue is actually a pretty well-written character in that you can, she's mostly more mature than Justin, but she has these little outbursts of like little kid emotion.
Yeah.
That just come out, and when Justin tells her that she can't go, she full on, those defenses kind of fall down, and she's super disappointed, and she's crying, and she runs away, and then she runs back to kick him in the shin, and then she runs away again.
Yeah. I tried going to her house, and her parents were like, she doesn't want to see you.
Aww. Yeah.
And
that's so sad.
If you try to go upstairs, she just yells down the stairs like she hates you, and you're the worst.
And you talk to your mom, and your mom's like, oh, where's Sue? She's not coming for dinner? And it's kind of sad. You have a quiet dinner with your mom because Justin feels kind of bad that he's going to be ditching her. And he's like, she makes his favorite stew, and he's overly praising it, and she knows something's up.
And she alludes to, the fact that eventually he'll go on his own adventures and he'll leave.
Yeah.
And then she kind of leaves the table with tears in her eyes.
Yeah.
And he asks about the family album for some reason. And so you wake up in the middle of the night and you go to the family album and you find a picture of yourself, which is this giant,
it's huge.
20 by 16 portrait.
It's a poster.
It is. It's a poster.
And so he puts it up on the wall by the pictures of his grandparents or grandfather and his stepdad, and so he'll be an adventurer just like the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he takes off. So he gets his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the port.
Well, first I dropped by. I was just wandering around to see who I could talk to, and like Gantz's mom is outside. She's like, "Oh, I wish my son would wake up early." My son's awful.
That's a funny little detail. But you go to the port, you give the soldier your steamer pass, and you get in, and you can talk to some of the other passengers.
There's about an hour's worth of dialogue here you can have with all the different passengers.
There's a lot, yeah.
Once again, go to Square Roots' YouTube page. You can watch me play through that whole part.
Eventually we go to get on board the ship, and as we go to get in, we're told there's a line, and everybody's lining up. Justin takes this moment to read.
Well, someone says something's hanging out of your pocket, and
he finds somebody tells you that there's something hanging out of your pocket, and you pull a letter out from your mom, and she writes this letter saying that she knows you're.
Well, she says, "Do not read. This is to the."
Yeah. Well, there's a part of it that like he's not supposed to read.
Well, the whole thing it says.
Well, the
"Do
main
not
letter
read."
is addressed to the president of the Adventurers Guild.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
Mr. Gauss or Goss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she knows he's going to read it, so she addresses a portion of it to him, knowing he's going to read it, even though she told him not to.
Even though I chose not to read it, you have to read it.
Yes, yeah. And she tells him that she's proud of him and that she knows he's going to leave. And
he's a very naughty boy.
He's a very naughty boy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sweet little deed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely enjoying. It feels like a good anime. The story so far. Like there's attention to detail in the characters. There's genuine emotional moments. I mean, the voice acting kind of sucks, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, and the only I wish they would have put some more work into the localization because it reads pretty flat.
Yeah.
Like they could have put a little more work into it and flesh it out a lot more. So we get onto the steamer and make our way to the new world.
I guess we'll have to talk about
Hooray!
that next time.
Yeah. Speaking of that, next episode we're gonna play from the steamship to the
Dom ruins.
Oh.
So getting to the
Dom ruins.
getting to the
Dom ruins.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't like these Garlisle people. They seem evil.
I think they might be the bad guys.
Well, I'm looking forward to boarding that Cleveland steamer.
I knew there was going to be one Cleveland steamer drop in this episode. I expect there to be more next time.
They just keep saying it over and over.
So John, before we go, were there any bullshit mini games in this episode?
No,
I don't think so.
Like crawling around finding a key is the closest. There definitely is next episode for sure. 100%.
Yes, that is true.
There will be bullshit mini games on this corner.
Yep.
Vanessa, do you have any corner you want to try and create for this show?
You know what? I think I need to spend some time dusting the cobwebs out of my old corners before I try to make a new one.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know, we should do a bad line reading corner for next episode.
Ooh, I like that.
That would be fun.
Right. We'll have to write down some lines. I do think next episode has a voice actress who's pretty good. Fina, I think, has a good voice actress.
Fina is also a really good character.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
I've only gotten to boarding the ghost ship, but she seems fine so far.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Before we go, let's talk about what we are squarely against. Vanessa, why don't you go first?
I am squarely against trying to kill children or saying that you're going to kill children. A good portion of the adults that Justin comes across declare that they are going to kill him, and it's just not cool. John, what are you squarely against?
I'm squarely against how zoomed in the camera is. I know I complained about it throughout the episode, but it does make navigating really, really hard.
Very true.
Jim, what about you?
I'm gonna say I'm squarely against the design of this town. There's no, for a city, there are, the houses are built in a U shape on some streets, and there are no real streets to speak of. Getting around this thing is super confusing. I found myself getting lost a lot. It got a lot easier when I remembered that you can hit the select button and it'll give you the layout of the entire town.
Well, now that I know that.
So that made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But otherwise that's kind of my only nitpick so far.
Okay. Well, otherwise I'm really enjoying this. Thank you for choosing it, Jim. It's a
it's a good game. I hope you
fresh
guys
and
like
fun
it.
game.
Fresh!
Well, no, well, Matthew's not here, but still, we should honor his wish to not have any more baby fresh eyes today.
All right. Well, I imagine that Matthew is squarely against whatever upset his tum-tum and caused him to leave early.
Poor guy.
Yeah, let's not mince words. He's got diarrhea. He's on the toilet right
I
now.
think we can mince words, Jim. I'm just saying it's okay sometimes to mince words. You don't have to say every thought that comes into your head.
That's it for this episode of Square Roots. Like we said, we're going to play from the introduction of the steamer to the
Dom Ruins
for next episode. Before we go, let's give everyone a quick reminder that we do have an email address that they can contact us at. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. They can reach us at our Facebook group, which is the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or they can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod. Our opening theme is Charles Ritz's cover of The Sandy Beach of Gambo, featuring Alejandro Espinosa and Noah Benson. Our ending theme is a fantastic vocal cover by Cyril the Wolf. Check out both Charles Ritz and Cyril the Wolf on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
And please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot your review and post it on the Facebook group or Twitter, I, John Brandon, will tell you how you leveled up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it. Good job, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Good episode.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I am John Brandon.
I'm Matthew Rajat.
Just insert a fart sound for Matthew for this episode.
I'm Vanessa.
Yay!
Bye.
So they are the Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Or the Junkyard Gang.
Well, they're called the Cosby Kids originally. When I was a kid, it was Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
I bet they're not called that anymore.
Probably
I've
not.
lost track of the plot. Jim, let's get back on. It's gonna be fun.
If you folks look over at Rudy in the Cosby Kids in our chat for a moment, I will edit this out. That is the hat I'm talking about.
Let's see this hat. Hold
Uh,
on. Hat. Oh, there it is.
That's
That looks nothing like Justin's hat. What are you talking about?
Okay, so how would you
Justin-
describe Justin's terrible hat then?
It looks
looks like the
Realm's
slime.
hat from Final Fantasy VI, but blue and more centered on his head.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's not a great hat. And then he has a tuft of hair in the shape of a top of a palm tree that sticks out in front of it.
He does take off his hat sometimes, but not during
What?
this chunk. Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That's a pretty big spoiler, and I'm kind of
Sorry.
upset with you now,
Sorry
John.
about that.
Dom ruins.